Brothers and sisters, thank you for joining. Hey, this is going to be another spicy one. I have been doing a couple of stories recently on, I'm going to call her Sophie of Dundee because that's just the easiest thing. And that's how most people know her. Her name is probably either Lola or Ruby. But I've done two already, and it's come to my attention that I haven't got all the information out. And for me, that's really important. I like to try to get all the stories out that the mainstream media are hiding, because I do know that most of the mainstream media are hiding things from us, and they are spinning all their stories to meet an agenda. Every single newspaper, every single major media outlet does that. And so what I like to do is get every story I can out there, and then I'm going to give you my opinion based on what I see, the evidence as I see it and my experience. And then you're free to agree, disagree, whatever you like, and tell me I got it wrong in the comments. And if you've got good thoughts on it, I'll respond in the comments. And I like having a discussion, and I don't ever delete anything out of my comments. You can say whatever you want. I've been called Nazi in my comments. I've been called trans in my comments. I'm not, by the way. I got no problem really with trans people that are adults. You go do you. Just leave me alone because I'm not. So I don't really care. But that's not what this is about. One of my commenters who was, pretty much scolding me because I was not taking the girl's side enough in his or her opinion, and was so we were having a nice discussion about it, and I'm going to assume it was a guy. He went and said, like, hey, have you seen this story? And I said, well, no. Let me go watch it. And so I'll put the link in here so you guys can watch it if you want. I'm not going to watch the entire video. It appears that it only came out like an hour and a half ago. So he must have saw this right away when it happened. And so I had not had a chance to see it. And it's an hour and a half. That's too long for my videos. I like to try to keep my videos, if I can do it, under 30 minutes. And we'll see. This one might be long. So I'll just give you a quick description of the video. It's basically they're commenting on all the stuff going on in the UK right now with the raise the colors and the complaints about the small boats and all of that. And I'm somewhat tuned into that. I've done a couple little stories on those, but only a little. I'm actually Scottish, born in Scotland. But I've lived in America for about the last 40 years, with visits back to Scotland about every 3 years. Don't mind the cat. I'm going to just keep going. And hopefully he doesn't rub me too much on my face, because then I end up wiping my face off all the time because of all the cat hair. But I'll just give me my quick opinion on raising the colors and all of that, so you guys know. I actually feel raising the colors is great. All of my family in the UK would always say, hey, it's great. Americans are so patriotic. Whenever they come over to America to visit me, they're like, there's flags everywhere. This is great. So I think this is great. Patriotism is great. Patriotism is not racist. And I'm also against burning the flag of your country. I think that's inciting violence. I don't want you burning your flag. And I don't want you burning Korans, and I don't want you burning Bibles. I don't want you burning anyone's holy books. I don't think that's a peaceful protest. And on the small boat issue, all the migrant things, I'm against mass migration. It's too much. It was really bad in America. Biden allowed in millions of illegal aliens with his open border policy in the last 4 years. Britain and all of Europe has been doing the same. Go look at my story I did yesterday on Denmark. Denmark's not letting anybody else in because they got so many criminals. It's not about race. It's not about religion. Not about all these things. Stop making it that. It's about resources. They're coming in and taking away too many resources. So Trump is quite right. Deport them all. If you're in a country illegally, you should be deported. So I know that was a lot, and it wasn't about Sophie of Dundee. But I wanted to say that because that's the first hour of this video. And so I fast forwarded to, it looks like an hour and 7 minutes in, and I'm going to watch this. I haven't watched it entirely, but I've watched a good bit of it already. I didn't watch some of the commentary right at the end. So I'm going to watch it, and we're going to get this different opinion. So let's just watch this video. I'll stop it and we'll comment as we go through. But again, there's new information here that's not in my previous two videos. So let's do it.
Breaking today, a witness has emerged from the events in Scotland surrounding the young Braveheart girl who went viral for defending herself against an immigrant before the mainstream media decided to try and tell us all that she was the problem, that the 14-year-old who had to carry weapons on the streets of Dundee was the real problem. And interestingly, this witness, you won't be surprised to learn, goes against the mainstream narrative. So you'll remember this young girl went viral across the United States after this video was posted on Elon Musk's X.
Yes, you have a knife.
You don't. Hey, I'm fucking 12 me. You're fucking bad and
Why are you fucking with us?
You're fucking kid bashers.
Show the knife. Show the knife. Show the knife.
Away from us.
Show the knife. Show the knife.
Don't touch it.
That's it. That's it. Show the knife.
Don't touch my little sister.
Show the knife. That's it.
Don't fucking touch my little sister. She ain't fucking 12. Wait until I fucking catch you, mate. She's fucking 12 and you just battered me, mate. Wait until I fucking catch you, mate.
Yeah, show the knife. Maracha.
Don't touch her. You're to me. Don't touch her.
But the mainstream media in this country said, no. That young girl was the bad one. She was charged by the police. The police then said there was loads of misinformation going around. And so basically, if you were in the United Kingdom, the message was shut up. Well, Hannah's World refused to do that. She told the story this way.
A 14-year-old Scottish girl stepped in to protect her younger sister from a group of grown men.
All right, so I'm going to stop her right there. It wasn't a group of young men. It was a Bulgarian couple. So I already have my spidey sense going up about Hannah. And Hannah's funny, but I like to make sure we stick to the facts here. And the stuff that's going on around about this is not correct. So I just want to point out that Hannah's starting out about it being a group of men that were harassing the two girls. And a lot of people believe that, but let's get the facts right, Hannah.
Said there was loads of misinformation going around.
So, yes, there is loads of misinformation. I just heard it from Hannah.
And so basically, if you were in the United Kingdom, the message was shut up. Well, Hannah's World refused to do that. She told the story this way.
A 14-year-old Scottish girl stepped in to protect her younger sister from a group of grown men. You know the kind. Locals heard it, the video shows it, you can hear the accent, you can see what's happening. And what did the police do? Did they question the men? Did they protect the girls? No, of course not.
I also think that's not true. The police did come out, and the police have said that they did question the men. The men were not men, the couple. There was a couple, and I've also seen that there was one witness statement taken that said that the girls were at fault. So, Hannah, your facts are not right, lady. I'm all okay with saying migrant men are a problem when they really are a problem. I've already said I think migrants need to all be sent back to their country if they're here illegally. But let's stick to actual real facts. I'm going to try to let Hannah go all the way through now. I've stopped her a couple of times.
A 14-year-old Scottish girl stepped in to protect her younger sister from a group of grown men. You know the kind. Locals heard it, the video shows it, you can hear the accent, you can see what's happening. And what did the police do? Did they question the men? Did they protect the girls? No, of course not. They arrested her, a child, for carrying something to defend herself. And now the media's spinning it like it's just another knife crime statistic. They've scrubbed the context, they've scrubbed the men's identity, they've scrubbed the truth.
Of course they scrubbed the truth. With the mainstream media even misrepresenting the migrant in question. So look at this. Darren McGarvey posted the truth about the migrant who a Dundee schoolgirl brandished a knife at. But actually, Richard, the Red Wall pleb, pointed out that the Daily Mail pulled this picture with his wife from Fatos Ali Damana's Instagram account, but they intentionally left out other posts from his Instagram account, which included, as Jonathan Wong pointed out, the fact that he has a gun tattooed to his back. Now, while that might not prove anything, what about this witness account?
Yeah, so before we do the witness account, I got no problem with a person having gun tattoos. It's a tattoo. Who cares?
But actually, Richard, the Red Wall pleb, pointed out that the Daily Mail pulled this picture with his wife from Fatos Ali Damana's Instagram account, but they intentionally left out other posts.
But I do think it is problematic that the Daily Mail left this post out. It is true. Because, yeah, I'm all about getting the facts out there. And so here we go. We've got a guy with tattoos and a balaclava. He's giving everybody the finger the way an American would. Ali Duma 5, Gypsy Gangster Man. Okay? And that's from 3 years ago. 22. Okay?
From his Instagram account, which included...
And we've got another one from 4 years ago. Ali Duma, I'm waiting to get in my supercar. And so... what does this show? The guy, likes to cause trouble on the internet and post pictures when he first got here. Remember, he's been here for 4 years, I believe it's said. He'd been in the UK for 4 years. So right after he got to the UK, he was acting out a little and putting crazy pictures up. But that doesn't, to me, immediately scream this is a bad guy. Waiting for you, Horace, to get in my supercar. He's just a young kid saying stupid crap. But I think it's fair to put that out there so that people can judge for themselves. This guy may not be a good actor too. And I think I said that in my previous videos. It's like we just didn't have enough context. Now we're getting more context so that we can make a decision. So let's roll on and we'll see where this goes. But yes, Daily Mail probably should have put this in their original story and not been so one-sided that he was a family man. But again, these are pictures that are 3, 4, 5 years old. I don't care what kind of tattoo. If you have gun tattoo, I don't care.
As Jonathan Wong pointed out, the fact that he has a gun tattooed to his back.
Who cares?
Now, while that might not prove anything, what about this witness account?
Now, this is what I really wanted to see. I did want to see the witness account. All that's gone before, I haven't really cared much about. But the witness is important to me. Now, I really would like to hear from the adult woman, but she may not be able to speak. She gave evidence. I don't know what the British laws of evidence are, especially around minors. So, unfortunately, the police will never be able to give all the evidence because it's a minor and they have to protect her privacy. But let's see what the witness has to say.
From one of the friends of the two girls who has decided to speak out over the weekend after reading all of these complete lies in the mainstream media. Listen to her account.
Get rid of me whilst I do a story time on what actually took place on Saturday night as a witness, because I was there during the whole thing. I was the one who made the 999 call to make the police show up, so I feel like I should get my story out. Basically,
Agreed.
Me and my friend Ruby, who was one of the girls in the video, we had just been swimming. And when we got back to swimming, we went to my house, we dropped our stuff off, and then Ruby's sister Lola phoned us and was like, oh, do you want to meet? I'm meeting with our other friends, we're gonna go out. And we were like, sure, let's meet. So we met with Lola and 2 other girls, and we were walking to go to one of the girls' houses because she had some stuff that she had to drop off. And whilst we were walking through Lochie. As we were walking through Lochie, we walked past the man that you see recording us in the video. We just were walking past him, and as we walked past him, he made some remarks to Lola, saying, oh, you're so sexy. And we were like, oh, that's not okay. So obviously Lola's sister was not happy because Lola's 12. So yeah, like I was saying, Ruby was like, oh, go away, she's 12. And the man then again said, oh, she's so sexy. So we were like, we did shout at him.
And most critically, she responded to claims that anything from the Scottish young Bravehearts was connected to race.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and comment on what she said so far. And I'm going to assume that she really is their friend because that other website mentioned a third girl. So we're going to go on that, and this isn't just some girl making stuff up on the internet because that is possible. So let's assume that this is a real friend. I believe her story. I've been to Scotland. And so I can see a man, even with his wife, catcalling a little girl who's 12 and saying she's sexy. Completely agree. That's bad behavior. He should not be doing that. It's offensive, but it's not a crime. I don't think. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe catcalling little girls is a crime. And I know my comments are going to light up that, oh my God, how can you defend this? But I'm just pointing out the fact it's not a crime. So he shouldn't do it. I completely agree. If I was there, I would hope that I would say, hey, mate, knock that out. It's a little girl. Because I don't think it's correct. And it may scare the little girl or whatever. But this is the reality of the world. Little girls have been harassed by men as long as there have been little girls and men. and people have just had to deal with it. So she had options. Her options were to leave, or her options were to call the police. Those are reasonable options. And yeah, I believe words were exchanged. I'm sure there was some swearing and some yelling. Again, I've been to Scotland. Swearing is a thing in Scotland, if you didn't know. And the Scottish, if you ever saw Braveheart, one thing they got right in Braveheart is Scottish folk tend to have a temper. So I definitely think there was probably some yelling going back and forth between the man and his wife and these three girls. I think this girl's story is credible. So let's move on. Most of the things you're going to see on X, they're really saying it's migrants, and they're implying it's black men from North Africa, and it's a gang of men like Hannah. Hannah, shame on you. You told everybody it was migrant men. It was not migrant men. It was a Bulgarian couple. They're as white as I am. They're as white as you. Again, Hannah, you were funny, but let's get your facts straight on serious issues. And so the police are quite right. There is a lot of misinformation out there. So I think they're okay saying that. I'm just not a fan of them putting people in jail for what they're calling spreading misinformation. But I'm okay with police telling people you shouldn't put out misinformation. This guy's all upset about that. He's definitely a very right-wing commentator, for sure. I try to be middle of the road. I know everyone calls me right-wing. This guy's way far more right than me. All right, that's enough of my tirade. Let's go on. Let's see what she's going to say about race, because I think at the very end there she said something like, hey, this wasn't really about race, or he said it.
And most critically, she responded to claims that anything from the Scottish young Bravehearts was connected to race.
This was nothing to do with his race. We didn't even know that he was from Bulgaria. So this could not have been a racial attack. This was self-defense, in my eyes.
Okay, so I think she's being fair. It wasn't about race, but it was about self-defense. Okay, fair enough. Now, hey, I like it. I like getting a little more context with things that we didn't see on the camera. So I like it. All right, let's see what else this guy's got to say.
To my superstar panel, Joseph Moulton and Emma Kenny. Emma, this story has disturbed me on so many levels because I think it shows, number one, how complicit the mainstream media now is.
They
with
are.
The authorities. The Scottish police said, oh no, you can't talk about this. It's misinformation. John Swinney decided to attack Elon Musk for a...
So one thing I'd like to say, I talk bad about the UK government and the crazy laws and the poor policing. And so what I don't like is when you conflate two different arguments. The stuff with the raising the colors or the stuff about you can't say bacon, that's not the story we're talking about. We're talking about these little girls that are here right now. And so if you're bringing these other things in, I'm not sure that's right because we did not actually see any video of what the police did. We did not see their investigation. We saw Hannah say that the police didn't even question the men. There weren't men there. It was a couple. I like to be fair to the police, and I'm assuming at this point that they did a fair investigation. So calling out that they didn't do a fair investigation, I don't think is right. But there's lots of evidence of them not doing fair investigations on the stuff that's been going on in England. But we have no evidence of it in this particular case. So I'm going to rewind a little bit and I'm going to let them talk.
Now is with the authorities. You know, the Scottish police said, oh no, you can't talk about this, it's misinformation. John Swinney decided to attack Elon Musk for allowing the video to be broadcast in the first place, and everyone has just gone along with it.
Yeah, so John Swinney is the first minister of Scotland. So I live in Texas now. So if you're American, that's sort of like he's the governor of Texas, sort of. It's not exactly right, but it's close. And I think he's wrong for attacking Elon Musk. I'm glad Elon didn't take that video down. I think Elon is a hero. I know he gets a lot of bad press, and they were burning Teslas because he supported Trump and all that. But if Elon had not bought Twitter and then turned it into X, this story probably wouldn't have got out, because all these companies, Meta, Twitter, all of them were suppressing stories that the government didn't want you to see. And Elon is saying, no, I'm not doing that. And, he's fighting the British government over that. So quite right. Elon, I'm glad you got the story out so we can be talking about it and having this conversation.
Talk about this, it's misinformation. John Swinney decided to attack Elon Musk for allowing the video to be broadcast in the first place, and everyone has just gone along with it. Then the Daily Mail come out with this article trying to paint this Bulgarian immigrant as if he is all sweetness and light, which doesn't particularly seem to be the case, because usually the Daily Mail hates anyone with a tattoo, let alone a tattoo.
Well, and anybody can find their best pictures. This guy could be a really bad person. I don't know. And unless we get evidence that he's a bad person, that he's a criminal, just because he put a few crazy pictures on Instagram. Go look at your Instagram pictures. I bet you've got some crazy ones out there that you wouldn't want, like, people who didn't know you to see now, that you put out there years ago. So again, I don't know. I don't know if this guy's a good guy or not, but I know he shouldn't have catcalled little girls. He's a little bit of a scumbag for doing that. That's not what I would do.
Of a gun on the back.
I don't care. He's got a gun. I like guns. I have guns in my house, and I think everyone should have the right to self-defense. Everyone should have the right to own a gun. I don't care what you tattoo on your body. I thought it was your body, your choice, right?
Of this bloody neck. And I've watched this full account from the witness. It's much, much longer on her TikTok. It runs to about 18 minutes. And
all right, now I know that she's got something on her TikTok. I'm going to have to go watch that. I don't know if I'll do a video on it, but I am going to go back and watch her full video, because this is the first time I've watched this part of this one. If there's new information that I think is important and that he's edited out because he's trying to push a point, I will do another video based on her TikTok.
I absolutely believe what she's saying. By the way, she does not excuse the fact that this young woman, this young Braveheart, was holding a weapon. But Emma Kenny, I ask you, why does a 12-year-old girl in Dundee feel they need to leave the house armed at all? Surely that is the bigger question here, rather than trying to demonize these two young ladies.
I mean, I think the thing about the law is, and I know, Dan, that you can't arm yourself with a knife or an axe, whether you feel that you should or shouldn't do. The reality is that is something that can lead to criminal charges, and it's also something that can lead to serious injuries. And I think you always have to be clear about that, even though the context of this is that there's a young girl who believes that she's doing what's right because she wants to protect her sister. You have to accept whether it's an acceptable thing to do. And I would say, because I run a crime channel, that it's unacceptable to do that.
I like her. It's unacceptable to do that. And really, I think the police did the right thing. I still do, after everything I've seen. So I agree so far with this woman. Police should come. They investigate. If they have a reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed after or during their investigation, they should arrest the person, and then let's let the courts decide the disposition. So I think the police acted rightly here in respect to the little girl. They did nothing with respect to the couple. All right, so I'm going to rewind her a little. But so far, I like what she has to say.
I mean, I think the thing about the law is, you know, and I know, Dan, that you can't arm yourself with a knife or an axe, whether you feel that you should or shouldn't do. The reality is that is something that can lead to criminal charges, and it's also something that can lead to serious injuries. And I think you always have to be clear about that, even though the context of this is that there's a young girl who believes that she's doing what's right because she wants to protect her sister. You have to accept whether it's an acceptable thing to do. And I would say, because I run a crime channel, that it's unacceptable to do that. I think what you're talking about more is what lies beneath. So what's going on in our society now that young women feel so afraid? And like it or otherwise, women are feeling afraid. I talk about this constantly with people. I talk about this with victims. So I am aware acutely that young people are really struggling with feeling safe in their communities. That's the subtext. And what really speaks out is how the press cover it. Because as you know, if you're going to make somebody a villain and somebody an angel, well, maybe make sure that the angel isn't in gangster gear with tattoos of guns on the neck, because really that isn't telling an appropriate story. And it takes anyone with an ounce of inquiry to just go online and look at those pictures to give yourself an impression of how this is being levied publicly. So like I said, we make the child the individual who's the aggressor, and we make the individual who happens to come from a country that, you know, might have some issues, and make them seem like this person with virtue, when clearly that isn't the case. And also, there's something about filming that child who's in a very agitated, scared state, who's actually trying to make it clear that she's unhappy about a message that's been given to her sister, and then to vilify her in public. Again, she's a kid. And I think that we have to afford kids the reality that they make some decisions that aren't necessarily the best for their future life. And that worries me deeply, that she's been vilified in that way.
Yeah, you know what? I like this woman. I think I'm gonna have to figure out who she is, and I'm gonna watch her some more. Everything she said made sense to me, honestly. The only thing that I would disagree with slightly is she didn't say it directly, but she implied that it was bad to video this kid with the knives. No, I would do that too. If I had the presence of mind, if I was walking with my wife and we were, you know, walking down to the shops and I had some kind of confrontation and somebody pulled out a knife on me and I had the opportunity and presence of mind to video it, I would, because then I can tell the police that this person threatened me with a knife, and I've got video documentation of it. If I don't have that, then she can come down and say that I assaulted her. So having video of a girl who's angry and threatening me with a knife is completely appropriate. I don't think there should be any subtext in any case where that's wrong. And if you're out in a public place, I don't know exactly what the rules are in the UK, but I believe you can video anyone, anywhere in public. You don't have a right to privacy in public in the US or in the UK. Tell me if I'm wrong there. Thanks. All right, let's see what we got. What else? But I like her. She's much more reasonable than the guy. I did give him a follow because I think he gets good information out, but he is a little too far to the right for me, this Dan Wooten guy.
Yeah, indeed. Joseph Moulton, what was your reaction to the story? Because to me, I just thought how typical that this ended up being a story in the mainstream media slagging off Elon Musk. You know, like the First Minister of Scotland, rather than actually dealing with the fact that, let's be honest, under his rule, under SNP rule, the streets of Scotland have become so unsafe for so many young girls, especially, by the way, in a place like Dundee. Just trust me on that.
Yeah, Dundee is known to have a crime problem. There's a crime and drugs problem in Dundee for sure. And so I think that's what he's implying there. And, you know, before the next guy goes, I think I agree with a lot of what he just said. That, you know, why are little girls feeling unsafe? And again, it's because there's too much migration. There's too many people coming from these other countries, illegally or legally. And these countries, all of them, all in the West, are bursting at the seams. And there is a high proportion of criminals mixed in with just normal people wanting to have a better life. So I'm all for sending all the migrants back, all of them. If they break the law in any way, shape, or form, that's all I need to know. Send them back to their country. And if I can't send them back to their country because the bleeding hearts are like, oh, we can't send them back to Afghanistan, it's awful there. All right, great. We'll send them. Where else can we send them? I'm all for what Trump is doing, sending them somewhere. I don't care where they are as long as they're not here.
it became an opportunity to attack Elon Musk, as if we couldn't see that video, then everything's okay. It always just comes down to censorship with them.
Yeah, the video is great. I am not a free speech absolutist. There are a few things that I don't think you should be able to say. Think basically things that are inciting violence or harm or cause harm to another person right now should not be allowed, and that's pretty much it. Or things related to children. I also do think children should not be able to interact in social media with anyone because there's too many adults out there interacting with them, and that's problematic for me. So we need to protect children on the internet, and we also need to stop violent content. Misinformation, I don't care about. Misinformation, I think other people can go out and dispute the misinformation. I'm fine with that. It's the actual incitement of violence right now that I don't like.
Yeah, I think it's sort of the trend, which is kind of, well, whether it's naivety or willful ignorance of, there being these issues in the UK and people getting very angry and upset and actually changing the way that they behave and act in public. I mean, a girl of that age should not be carrying a knife, but clearly there's underlying reasons as to why she is. And I think that we're seeing this along with the protests going on around the country too. They're focusing on, the protests, and they want to kind of put a label on it. It's racist, whatever, far right, whatever they want to call it. But they're not looking at these things that are just springing out of nowhere. They're not just, people aren't waking up one day and deciding they're going to change their behavior so radically from what actually, we'll go back a few years ago, and an idea of a girl of that age carrying a knife in Britain would have been unimaginable. And I think that's just how they kind of brush it under the rug. They cause a new controversy, then it becomes about, Hamza Yusuf and Elon Musk arguing, rather than the fact that actually there is clearly an institutional problem here that's not being addressed.
Okay, I agree with him too. His guests are better than he is. So yes, there's an institutional problem. A little girl should not be carrying a knife. Now, an adult, I got no problem with an adult carrying that knife for protection, none at all. But I'm also a supporter of an adult having a gun. But one thing that they haven't really addressed, and that I think I got to get out there, is there is a youth crime problem everywhere, right? And so even though the girls have a migrant fear problem, two things can be true at once. There are bad girls and bad boys. I've been to Scotland. There are little groups of Neds that are little troublemakers all over, girls and boys. And there's a story out there about this same girl from about a month ago where there was a missing person report on her and her sister. And so we don't know why there was a missing person report, but she did disappear for a little while. And so this girl definitely has some other issues, and she looks like she probably has some anger issues, because in my view, a reasonable person will just leave. But either she was carrying that knife when she approached the couple, or if you look at her mother's GoFundMe, she said she retrieved a knife. So normally when you get catcalled and abused in that way, you just leave. You don't go home or to your shed or wherever and go get a hatchet and a knife and come back and say, wait till I get you. So the girl definitely also has some issues. And I get she's 12 and she doesn't know what she's doing, but let's not sweep under the rug that this girl might also have some problems. I've got to say that. But I do like this guy. I do agree there's institutional problems. There is too much crime. Girls do not feel safe, so they feel like they have to carry a knife. That I think is actually okay. And really that's kind of the underlying structural problem of banning knives, right? So I think knives are tools. If you ban weapons, all people are going to do is find another weapon. In the UK, back in the 90s, the government banned guns. So what happened? Knife crime was really big. There were a lot of stabbings. And then what happened? Oh, we're going to make knives and ninja swords illegal. Okay, great. Well, now what's happening? People are going to use bars. They're going to hire lorries and run people over. And you know what? Little girls are going to break the law and carry a hatchet and a knife against the law because they feel unsafe. So banning weapons is not the way. The way is putting criminals in jail for their bad behaviors is really what's going on, and better policing and hitting the real problems, not taking away people's tools.
Emma, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think it's a really good way to deflect what's going on beneath the surface. And I think that there are so many people right now feeling unsure about their communities, and psychologically, that's a terrifying position and place to be in. And with that comes these kind of realities. Like I said, there is absolutely no way she should have grabbed that kitchen knife and grabbed that axe. It makes no sense whatsoever for her own safety. You're taking on a man. Even with those arms, you're not going to come off positively out of that. And we don't want people to do that in communities. But unless we start understanding that people feel silenced, they're not feeling listened to, they're feeling afraid, then we're going to get more provocation in our society. And I think that's obvious from what's happening right now, not just in one community, but all across the UK. And again, it is not just white people, because that seems to be the narrative and rhetoric that's being put out there. White people have a problem in the UK. That's absolute lies. It's BS, and it's unfair, because it means that they're not listening to any community and leveraging this particular belief system, which is a false belief system, to bring in some authoritarian rule that no one wants.
Yeah, and I think she's quite right. This really isn't a racial problem. Everyone in the UK is feeling unsafe right now, and it's causing these problems. And I get it. Migrants feel unsafe because of the hotel protests and the Raise the Colors, but the people doing it are not racists, I don't believe. Now, maybe a few of them are, but mostly it's because they're being patriotic and they've had enough of poor government, soft on crime policies and two-tier justice. Whether true or not, the perception is that if you're white in Britain, you're going to get a harsher sentence than somebody that's of color or is a member of the Islam religion. This is a perfect example of this. People are going around now saying, hey, look again, the little white girl gets thrown in jail. She did nothing wrong. And the migrants who attacked her, implying that they're Muslims of color from North Africa who just came across on a little boat, are the bad guys. No, that's not it. We need the real facts and then address the real problems. And if I'm the police, I would be watching this couple and I'd be checking this guy's background to see, is he a bad guy? And if he is, I would arrest him. But if they can't find evidence, then they can't arrest him. And I've seen other stories with some CCTV footage that was released where they actually, allegedly, the police reviewed the CCTV cameras from around the property where this happened, and the couple and the girls were in the footage, and the couple did nothing wrong that could be seen on the video. There was a witness statement that it was the girls that were the aggressors. But again, unfortunately, we'll never be able to get that police report, probably, because it's a minor and the police are forced to protect her privacy, and rightfully so. But it's going to lead to all these conspiracy theories. But let's just get the facts. The facts are bad enough.
100%. And I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying, Emma. Of course, the American take on this is a little bit different because they do believe that arming yourself for safety's sake is important.
Right.
You know, if you're and even to a lesser extent, you know, if you're a woman in Florida, for example, you can carry around mace, you can carry around pepper spray. And I note that a lot of women in the United Kingdom, and this again, I think should show how terrible things are on the streets, are currently having to carry around deep heat because they're so afraid and they just want to arm themselves with something.
Dan, the police are allowed pepper spray so they can spray 70-year-old women, but don't about women who might actually need it because they've got people aggressing them. Yeah, it's a topsy-turvy world. And America does have that in their constitution, and that's never going to get overturned. Doesn't matter how left people are, that is going to stay there. You are going to have the right to defend yourself. Yeah. The UK doesn't have that same belief system, sadly.
Yeah, that's crazy. A woman should 100% be able to carry mace, pepper spray, whatever you want to call it, for her defense. And 100% she should be able to carry a gun for her defense. I'm 100% on board with that. It's ridiculous that the police can do it and then shoot. I saw at the Canary Wharf yesterday, a little 11-year-old got pepper sprayed in the face. Nonsense. Britons, you guys need to stop letting the government take away your rights. You don't even understand what rights have been taken away. You don't even see it. It's crazy. And so, yeah, in Florida, a woman could actually carry a gun if she chose, or pepper spray. And the police, if it was used, the police would investigate. And if she committed a crime, they would arrest the woman. But she does have the right to self-defense. But even in the U.S., a little girl who came up to somebody brandishing a knife and a hatchet, there's a high probability she would be arrested for probably an assault type crime, because you're not allowed to do that. It has to be a clear self-defense situation, and that would come out in the investigation. And I do think it's problematic for children to be carrying weapons for their protection. Adults, yeah, no problem, but children don't make good decisions. So that one, I got to think more on that one.
That is why Marjorie Taylor Greene on this did post, "This brave little girl is the type of refugee I want coming to America. I can't comprehend what type of government won't protect her and refuses to stamp out the mass rapings." And I do just think there is quite a different point of view, an important point of view that we're getting from America.
All right, so Marjorie Taylor Greene is an American congresswoman. So she'd be like an MP in the UK. I don't want this girl coming to America as a refugee. She doesn't need to. Britain, just fix your problem. Just, protect your people. Stop the mass rapings. When will Labour investigate the rape gangs in England with the young Pakistani men? Just because it's part of their culture and Islam says it's okay, and I think that's mainly what I'm hearing on why they're not investigating. It's not okay in the UK. It's not okay in Western civilization. They now live in Western civilization. They need to assimilate. And if they break the law, it's not racial. It's not against their religion to go after them when they break UK law. So stop the nonsense. And I know they're probably mostly Labour voters and you don't want to offend your voters, but they're breaking the law. If you don't hold them to account, this is the kind of thing that happens
at the moment on what's going on in this country. But my God, thank God for both of you. Emma Kenny, who is host of Emma Kenny TV on YouTube. That is Emma Kenny True Crime, 2 episodes weekly. Honestly, I absolutely love them. It's a YouTube sensation and proof, I guess, that there is life after the MSM, right, Emma? We're doing all right. We're doing all right. But please do subscribe. And Joseph Moulton, who is on Outspoken for the first time today. Such a pleasure to have you. A great young patriot who is running the Flag Force UK campaign, which I fully support. Let's raise the colours. Joseph, please come back soon. Thank you both so much. And am I going to...
All right, so with that, I'm going to follow both of them. I'll probably put links to this and both of their websites out there, or their YouTubes out there. I like the 2 commentators more than I like Dan Wooten because he was too far right for me. So anyway, so that's what I think. So overall, it's a complicated situation. I do think that the man should not have catcalled her. I believe the witness, and that was unacceptable, but he did. But I also think it's unacceptable for little girls to be carrying knives or to go home and get a knife and come back and threaten him. So I do think she should have been arrested. And I think the police, upon full investigation, if they found that the couple committed a crime, they should also be arrested. But I do also think the root cause here is probably soft on crime policies in the UK, which is making little girls and everyone feel unsafe. Every demographic, not just little girls. It's making Muslims feel unsafe. It's Pakistanis are feeling unsafe. Everyone is feeling unsafe. And so the government really needs to fix this. And I think one way to fix it is stop the mass migration and deport all these people and protect your little girls. But even with all that, I do think these 2 little girls are troubled and have anger issues. And as I said, I'm Scottish. I have met little girls with anger issues in Scotland. And I've met little boys with anger issues and adults too. So it's definitely a thing. So again, this is a very complicated topic. I'll be interested to see what people think about this in my comments. And again, I do respond. I don't delete anyone's comments, good or bad, or whether I agree with them or whether I don't agree with them, because I want the information to get out there. I want people to make up your own minds about this stuff. I'm just offering my opinion. I could very well be wrong. Thanks. Well, if you like this, give me a like and a subscribe. If you don't like it, don't watch me. Hardly anybody watches me anyway, because I just speak a lot of nonsense. Thanks. Bye.